Introduction to vectors. Convert between bearings and quadrant bearings. So now we will understand how to convert directions for the vectors in different units. Now as you understand, bearings, when we say, is clockwise from north, and quadrant bearing is 0 to 90 degrees either from north or south. So it's basically angle from the north-south axis, right? So now here we have a question to understand the relation between them. A. Write bearing 230 degrees as a quadrant bearing. So if we don't mention anything with bearing, it means the azimuth bearing or the true bearing, right? Which is measured from north clockwise. So let's first sketch this angle and then write down its equivalent, right? So here is how we can sketch it. We want bearing of 230 degrees. So 230 degrees means 180 and then plus 50, right? That gives you 230. Or you could say 270 minus 40, right? Either way. So let's say approximately, let's say this is that bearing, right? So the angle for bearing is always measured from north. So that means this angle from here to here is 230 degrees, correct? That is what we mean by saying 230 degrees as a bearing angle, right? So it is always measured from north and it is clockwise, as you can see here. To write it as a quadrant bearing angle, what we can do is we can write it with reference to north-south line, right? And as an angle from west, as this is in quadrant 3. So from northwest line, you can see we can relate it with south, right? So from south, it is towards west by how much? 180 plus 50, right? So we'll write 50 degrees here. And we can write this in quadrant bearing form as from south, it is 50 degrees. In which direction? West. So that is our answer for this. Remember, when we are talking about quadrant bearing, then quadrant bearing has 3 components, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, I'm taking this opportunity to once again explain you these numbers written for quadrant bearing, right? This south is either from south or north, right? So this is this line. So it is 50 degrees west of south. That is how we read it. We read like this. It is 50 degrees west of south. So that's the way to read it, right? 50 degrees west of south. That is how we should read it. I hope and understand that you get it perfectly, right? Now let's do part B. Write quadrant bearing south 30 degrees east. That's not the way to read it. What's the way to read it? 30 degrees east of south. 30 degrees east of south as true bearing. Okay, let's now draw this one. Now this we can draw like this here. So as I said, true bearing angles and quadrant bearing angles are related, wherever every angle is related, right? Now true bearing is from north and quadrant is from southwest line, right? But the angle should be within 0 to 90 degrees. Now here from south we have to see how much do we go towards east. It is 30 degrees. So let me first write what it means. It means 30 degrees east of south. That's what it means, okay? 30 degrees east of south. That's what it means. So from south, so in this case, well, that is for the above part. Let me draw a line here. So we have north here and south here, right? Now in this case, we have to go 30 degrees east. So if this is my south, then seems to be 30 degrees. Let me write 30 degrees here. So it is 30 degrees east of south, right? Now, so that becomes the direction. Quadrant bearing angle 30 degrees east of south. And the true bearing angle will be from north clockwise. How much is this? It is 180 minus 30. So it is 150 degrees, right? Now, so therefore, we can write true bearing angle here as 150 degrees. Now, a word about true bearing angle. It is always written in 3 digits, right? With leading zeros. So can you tell me what is the true bearing for north? True bearing for north is, we have to write 0, 0, 0 with a degree here. Remember that, right? So always 3 digits and leading zeros, right? So if the angle is here, it will be 0, 90 degrees, right? That's the leading zero. So don't forget to write it in 3 places, okay? I hope now you understand the relation between the true bearing and the quadrant bearing angles. We'll do some more questions related to this. Thanks and all the best.